Hey, what's up guys, TechTitan here, and I am back again with a brand new video. So before I begin this video, as always, you know how we do it here. I want to thank you all so much for watching this one. If you enjoy my content, leave a thumbs up, and if you want to subscribe to the channel, hey, the subscribe button is right below. I would do greatly appreciate anyone who supports my channel. Okay, so in today's video I'm going to be comparing the LG V20 and the LG Stylo 4. So last time I made a video on the LG V20, people liked it, and I had a couple of requests saying that I should do a comparison between it and the Stylo 4. So I was really interested to do this comparison to see how an old flagship would stack against a new budget phone. So this should be fun. Okay, so let's start with design, and I'm gonna go ahead and get started with the LG V20. And the LG V20 is made out of metal all the way around. Now the front has a wide-angle front-facing camera, and you also have this Quad HD display in it. So the screen on here is quite nice. It's an IPS panel, a Quad HD IPS panel, and it's definitely a sharp screen. Now it could be a little bit brighter, which is really the biggest weakness when it comes to this display. And on the bottom you still retain the 3.5mm headphone jack, a USB Type-C which supports quick charge, and as also you get a bottom-facing speaker. And on the back you have your power button. You have a dual camera setup. So one is a standard 16 megapixel sensor, and the other is a 13 megapixel wide-angle lens. And you also have laser autofocus and your LED flash. Now the camera doesn't really sit flush, it does protrude a little bit, which can be annoying to some people. But me personally, I don't find it all that annoying. It's cool with me. So you also have this curvature on the sides, which will help give the phone a grip. However, it still is a slippery phone. It's made out of metal. It's going to be slippery. If you plan on getting this phone, I would highly recommend the case on it. So on the left, you have your volume up and down, and you would kind of expect for a flagship to have a clicky mechanism. It does not. It's really, the buttons are really horrible. The volume up and down, at least. They're mushy. They're not really tactile. So yeah. Okay. So that's pretty much it for the design of the LG V20. Okay, hold on, no, that's not really it for the LG V20's design. One cool feature that I'm not really sure how many people will find it useful nowadays, but there's this extra button right here, which is used to pop off the back and replace this 3200 milliamp hour battery. And I'll talk about battery life in a second, but yeah, you have so you have a micro SD slot as well as your SIM card slot, and it comes standard with 64 gigabytes of storage. If you want to expand it, of course you can do it by a micro SD card. Okay, so that's really it for the design of the LG V20. Now I did quite a lot of videos on the LG Stylo 4, but just a quick recap. Here's the display. So the display supports that 18:9 aspect ratio, which we come to expect with flagships, and it's really great to see that it's made it on the budget phones. And I believe this was the first budget phone that I've tested that has this 18:9 aspect ratio, and that 18:9 aspect ratio. And the display is quite nice too. It's not as sharp as the LG V20, but it's plenty sharp for a normal viewing distance. And I think it's a little bit. And the fun fact: the LG Stylo 4's display is actually a little bit brighter, and the colors are about the same. They both still use IPS panel. On the bottom, you have your stylus, your bottom-facing speaker, USB-C, which also does support quick charge, and also a 3.5mm headphone jack. On the front, you also have a 5 megapixel wide-angle front-facing camera, and on the right-hand side, you actually have a power button, and on the left-hand side, you have volume up and down. And these are night and day better than the buttons on the LG V20. Much better. They're tactile, way more tactile than the LG V20, that's for sure. And yeah, they're made out of metal. So the sides are made out of metal. However, the back is still made out of plastic, and the battery is not removable. It's soldered in. But that's pretty cool. I mean, but that's really cool because I'm not one to swap out battery. On the back, you have a 13 megapixel camera with your fingerprint sensor. So design-wise, I definitely like the modern look of the LG Stylo 4 versus the, I don't know, let's say old school big bezels look of the LG V20. But however, the build quality on the V20 is definitely much better in some ways. So the build quality in terms of materials used is definitely better on the V20, just because the back uses metal instead of plastic. If they used metal on the LG Stylo 4's back, then hey, the design would definitely go for the LG Stylo 4. The buttons on here, the V20, are horrible. night and day better on the Stylo 4. And the Stylo 4 also has an additional feature, which is the stylus. And the stylus, it's a pretty cool feature if you still use it. So when I started testing this phone, I found myself using the stylus for the first, I don't know, couple of hours. After that, I even forgot it was there. So that's just really a subjective thing. If you plan on, if you're a stylus person and you like to take notes on your phone or whatever, then the stylus is, it's for you. Me personally, it's really not. I don't want to say I hate it. It's a nice feature to have. It's just I forgot it was there after some time. Now, the features that the LG V20 has is this secondary display. In my opinion, that secondary display is not really useful. So it does display information, like you have quick shortcuts, but I think it's just an extra use of space. I think it's just a waste of space in my opinion. They could have went the route of shrinking this bezel, or not having, or just having this display as part of the actual phone. So they could have had this secondary display as part of the actual phone's display. I think it would have been better. And then you can have this as an additional option. That would have been cool. But it's not. That's just how it is. That's just what the LG design team did back then. It's not really useful to me. That's just my opinion. Okay, so performance. So the LG Stylo 4 uses a Snapdragon 820, and the LG Stylo 4 uses, I believe, a Snapdragon 415, but it uses a budget processor basically. And performance-wise, let's do a quick day-to-day test. So let's clear all previous apps. Let's see. Okay, so let's do like the phone app, for example. So 3 to 1. Okay, so the V20 beat the Stylo 4. The messaging app, 3 to 1. Okay, so the V20 beat the LG Stylo 4 by a little bit. Let's try Google Chrome. So 3 to 1. Okay, so let's actually load up a page on both of them. Let's see. 1. All right, so about the same, not really a drastic difference. And scrolling wise, the LG V20 is definitely the smoother one. So pinch to zoom and things like that. So web browsing experience goes to the V20, and I kind of expected that, even though this is a couple years old of processor. Remember that at the time it was a flagship processor, and it's capable of still more than what this budget processor is. So let's talk about battery life. So the LG Stylo 4 has a 3000 milliamp hour battery, whereas the LG V20 has a 3200 milliamp hour battery. And the battery on the Stylo 4 is, I want to say, a little bit better, just because it doesn't really push as many pixels as the LG V20. And also, in terms of charge time, they're about the same. They both support quick charge via USB-C, so that's pretty cool. Now the camera. So the camera, I definitely want to give the rear-facing camera to the LG Stylo 4. It has pretty cool features. So you can have the standard, so you have the standard lens, and you have also the wide-angle lens, which, I don't know, gives you this wide-angle effect, and it's pretty cool, and I like it when you take. So you can basically get really creative with taking pictures using that secondary camera. The LG Stylo 4 does lack a secondary camera. However, the front-facing camera on the Stylo 4 is much better than the front-facing camera on the LG V20. I don't know what's up with LG back then when it comes to front-facing cameras, but the V20 has a horrible front-facing camera. So finally, let's do a quick speaker test, and I'll give you guys my final words and what I think about both of these phones and which one you should get. So let's see. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start with the LG Stylo 4. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the LG V20. So slide as it goes, 3 to 1. Okay, so here's what I have to say about the speaker. The speaker definitely goes to the LG V20. So it produces a clearer sound and it's louder. And overall, the bass is better, the low ends, high ends, mid range. Overall, the speaker definitely goes to the V20, bottom line. Okay, so me personally, if I were to go to a store or just buy them online, which phone would I choose? It's tough. If we're talking about design, I would go for the Stylo 4. While the Stylo 4 doesn't really use the highest quality material, it still produces a more of a modern design. And LG used its resources to take a budget phone, to take a budget materials, other than the sides, which are made out of metal, and implement them in a phone that, I don't know, could be mistaken for a flagship. While the V20, I guess the design does kind of show its age. The back looks cool, but the button, like things like the button and the front display, I don't know. Design-wise, definitely go for the Stylo 4. If you're looking strictly for performance, I would go for the LG V20. Also, if you're looking to shoot, if you plan on shooting a lot of pictures, the rear camera on here is still pretty good. So, but I'm talking about me personally, I would still go with the LG Stylo 4. So while price is about the same, while the price is about the same on both of them, the Stylo 4, I believe, the Stylo 4 will still be more, so you'll still get more Android updates with the Stylo 4. So a little bit of future-proof, and it gives you this modern design, which to me personally, the camera it's decent. It's not as good as the LG V20, but it's good enough to take pictures and post them on social media. Performance, I'm not really the type of person to play heavy demanding games, so for what it's worth, the LG Stylo 4's performance, it's not horrible, but it's not gonna really, you can still play like things like, let's say PUBG, for example. You can still play that, you just have to take the resolution down a notch. So I would definitely personally go with the LG Stylo 4. However, the LG V20 is still a really great option, and I'm really curious to see which phone would you guys go with. Let me hear why would you go with it, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I want to thank you all so much for watching this one. If you enjoyed my content, leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more videos. Thanks for watching.